everybody, this is Officer Bosco. Welcome back to Police 10-8 Talk. Today we're going to be doing a brief little video on some handcuffs, different types of handcuffs. Mainly what we're going to do is we had a request video concerning one pair of handcuffs that I currently carry on duty. It was actually from the duty belt video. It's a pair of Smith Wessons, and it has kind of a unique double lock capability on it, which is...
this will be for Matt.
Yeah, this is for Matt. Basically what we're going to go over, these are the 4 pairs of handcuffs. This pair right here is actually Officer Joel's handcuffs that he wears. These are mine. This is a pair of Smith & Wesson. These are, I believe, the M300 series. And these are, it has a solid piece instead of the link chain in it. This is the M&P one. This is the model M100-1. These are the ones that actually Matt had asked about, which I'll go a little bit more into those. These are going to be Officer Joel's handcuffs, which these are Peerless. I'm not sure of the model number. 700s. Okay. This is my pair of Peerless, which these I've had a long time. These probably are the same serial or the same brand, same type, same model number probably. Just an older pair, which actually I had a friend of mine Duracoat them for me because they were getting a little old. These actually had the standard black finish and was starting to come off, so a buddy of mine Duracoated them for me, which is nice because it adds to durability for it. Basically, I think the reason why we had the request was concerning these right here. On a standard pair of handcuffs, normally when you have to double lock them, you normally have this little keyhole here. Okay, the great thing about these, the newer Smith & Wessons that do have the key lock there, the great thing is now you can access them from both sides. It used to be on the older handcuffs, it was on one side, and if you try to put somebody in custody, you know what it's like if you accidentally put the keyhole on the inside instead of the outside, so trying to double lock it's very difficult. And you always want to make sure you double lock it because you don't want it to cinch up on the person you have in custody. I like these here because it has a solid link chain, so when you're grabbing your handcuffs to handcuff them, it's a lot easier to grab them because you're taught basically in the academy to grab them like this, so you can try to put them on both at the same time. So with this link, it's a lot easier than with the chain. It's a little bit more difficult. But these are the Smith & Wessons. They have theirs on the face of the cuff. Okay, and this one right here, the Peerless are a little bit different. The Peerless, the double locking mechanism is actually on the side. I don't know how good you can zoom on it. It's kind of hard to see it. But basically, the little lock that you have for the double lock for Peerless handcuffs is on the side. So it's a little bit different. I think these are a little bit easier than the Smiths in the middle on the face plate. I think it's a little bit easier having a locking mechanism on the side like that. It just makes it a little bit easier. But what we're going to do is we're going to go over this one since Matt requested, and actually it's a good question. Normally with the other ones, like I said, you have the double lock mechanisms. These on either on the face plate or with the Peerless that's on the side. These are really nice because that's the double lock mechanism right there. And I'm going to try to show it with this open. All you have to do on this one is literally, if you get somebody handcuffed, you take this little lever and it's spring action, you pull it back. And what that does, that double locks it. Okay, I'll show you what I'm talking about. See the cuff? Actually double locked it on me. I'll show you on this one then. And these are the Smith & Wesson MP, so these are fairly new. This is the only pair I've seen, the only pair I have that's like this. And but like I said, it's a very novel idea. So basically, like say you have somebody's hand in here, all you have to do is, like I said, that little lever right there, is you pull it back. I might even be able to hear the click, if I can get it there. You pull this back and it double locks it. For some reason I can't get it to go, but there we go. You pull that back like that, goes back forward, and right now that's double locked. So it makes it a lot more convenient for the officer because in that way you're not having to fumble with a handcuff key trying to get it in to hold the double lock it. So that makes it very convenient. Like I said, literally all you have to do is just pull that back and that double locks it. And then you have to have the key, which I have mine in my pocket, and then you have to have the key to unlock it. But when it comes to convenience, it just makes it so much easier. Because then that way you're not having to fumble with a key, because with the normal pair of handcuffs, which I'll show.
I got a question for you.
What's that?
On those lever lock, would it be conceivable somehow in your cuff holder that they double lock, and then when you take them out you can't use them till you unlock them?
No, because I mean basically because you have to pull this back and it is spring loaded. So I mean, for you to double lock, you got to really, I mean, you got to put a decent amount of pressure on this to get that to double lock. So the odds of that happens pretty slim.
Show that again and let me try and get a.
Talk about what this.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, like I said, you pull that. It's kind of hard, I'm sure, for the camera to get to see. But basically, like I said, that little mechanism, and it's spring loaded. All you do is basically, like I said, you just, this one always seems to give me a little bit of a problem. You literally just pull it back like that.
Yeah, you
can see it's under spring tension.
Yeah, I could hear it make a little click.
Makes a little click, and then it pops right back into place.
Okay, and then that would be double lock.
Yeah, it's double locked right now. You can't move it. But the great thing about it, like I said, is that just makes it more convenient. Like there's a good, now it's double locked, it's even easier to show right there. But the odds of that happening is pretty slim because it's pretty low profile, so I don't think it's enough to where it's going to catch on anything coming out of the holster. These things have never double locked on me. I don't think that's, I'd find that very difficult to happen. I'm not saying it can't, but I'd say the odds of it happening are pretty slim. Okay, and what we're going to do real quick is I'm just going to weigh these real quick just to give you an idea how much they weigh. Go ahead and start the machine up here. Just to give you an idea of what they weigh. Okay, these are going to be the Peerless. These are the ones with the Duracoat on them. And these are 9.3 ounces. Okay, we're going to do Officer Joel's, which these are similar to the Smith Wesson. Most of these have our nickel finishes. Sometimes I think you get them in stainless, but most of them are standardized pretty much now with the, something crawling on my leg there. Most of them are stainless or satin now, satin nickel. And these are 9.85. These are the Smith Wesson handcuffs with that unique double lock there. And these are the MP series. These are 10.15 ounces. And this is going to weigh more because that's a nice big solid chunk of metal there. And that's exactly at 11.0. Well, like I said, these two, the course is going to weigh more. These are really good if you're having somebody that's struggling a lot on you. It kind of restricts their moving a lot more when you have the hinge part in there as opposed to the chain. The chain gives them a lot more movement. If you have somebody that's really giving you a lot of issues, these are probably better cuffs because it limits their movement a lot more. You know, the thing is you don't want to hurt them. You know, when you're handcuffing, you want to make sure that you get them on there right as best you can. If you're struggling with somebody, that's easier said than done. Sometimes you just got to get them on there. You know, the idea is not to hurt them, but it is to restrain them. You know, and like I said, these sometimes if you got somebody that's struggling on you, I tend to that's why I carry one pair of these, and then I got a regular pair with the chain on it, just in case, because these are a little bit easier if you got somebody that's starting to fight on you.
If you could only carry one type of handcuff, what would be your preference? The chain,
talking about like brand name?
The chain or the hinged?
I probably would carry the hinged. Now I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure if Smith & Wesson makes these, the chain ones with that option on there, I'm sure there's probably a hinge one. These are an older pair of handcuffs. These I've had these for quite a few years, probably about 10 years I've had these. These I've literally bought probably within the last 2 or 3 years. So this is fairly new. Of course, it's part of their MP line, which is fairly new. Like I said, with that double lock mechanism, I'm sure they probably make one in a chain because this is a -1. I'm sure there's probably a -2, and that's probably going to be the one with the link in it, with the solid piece link in there. But if I had my choice, I'd rather carry these just because of the fact that, you know, it's like I said, when you're grabbing them, it's easier to hold them like this with the solid link in there. And if you grab them like this, because to do them like this, you got to position them like this. Okay, and you just don't have as much control over the handcuff. You know, because you got that chain just kind of makes it a little bit more difficult. With this one, you really grab them and they're ready to go. They're already lined up for you to put them on. Whereas, like I said, with the chain ones, and the Peerless are about the same. The chain I think, of the Peerless is a little bit shorter. You know, but basically you got to sit there and grab them and they can move around on you and stuff like that. So to me, the solid piece is just easier to control it when you're putting somebody in the handcuffs. And basically this is just a brief review of some different handcuffs. Like I said, these two are Peerless. These are Smith & Wesson. You have a company called Hyatt that makes handcuffs, and even Asp, who makes batons, are also making a line of handcuffs as well. So there's a lot of good quality handcuffs out there now. Make sure you buy a good pair of quality handcuffs. Don't buy like some cheap 5 and dime pair of handcuffs because, you know, your life may depend on it. You want to secure these people. You want to make sure you're using a good quality cuff. Like I said, Peerless is what I've always used Peerless and Smith & Wessons, but like I said, Hyatt makes a good cuff, as well as Asp now makes handcuffs as well, which a couple of my officers in my department carry. Now the one thing you got to remember about the Asp ones, which I wish I had some to show you, The only problem you run into with those is they're thicker. Okay, so if you have a normal handcuff case carrier like mine, the asp may not work in that. So if you're going to carry asp, you probably need to get the asp one specifically made for the asp handcuffs, because they are slightly thicker than a standard handcuff. So they may not fit in a standard handcuff case. So just to let you know that they are a little thicker. And if you get a double handcuff, I've seen them, they stick out like really far because those handcuffs are a little bit thicker. And anyways, like I said, this is just basically a simple review. Like I said, this was a request, so that's why we want to do this on the double locking ones with this unique locking mechanism, which I think is the bomb. I think it's a great idea. Smith Wesson, way to go. I think it's a brilliant design. I hope other companies come out with something very similar. You know, because like I said, when you double lock it, you want to try to double lock it and get the person secured as fast as you can, because that's the key. Get them secured, get them safe, make sure you're not hurting them, and basically get them into custody. And thanks again for coming back to Police 10-8 Talk. I'm Officer Bosco. Be safe and watch your six.